Get off of it. Get off of it.
Oh, we're
and just-
ready, wait. Ready?
It didn't work. I think it's broken.
The chair's broken. We'll get it fixed. Good morning, everybody. We're here for the Marion County Board of Commissioners weekly board session. It's Wednesday, September 21st, 2022. And we're in the Senator hearing room at 555 Court Street, Northeast in Salem. And if you would, please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Great, we're trading chairs. Okay, we're going to start with public comment this morning, and we have two individuals signed up. David Beam, you are first. No, I'm sorry, it's David Beam. David, yeah, you're later. Good morning, David.
Good morning, Commissioners. I was thinking about if we can get bathrooms downtown where people can take a shower or something, because a lot of people are homeless, don't have any services after 5 o'clock, and don't get no way to take a shower or get clean. And a lot of them downtown make them a lot of big messes downtown, and a lot of businesses are getting fed up of it. So I was thinking the county would tighten it up a little bit more, and I would like the county police, Marion County Sheriff, be involved.
Well, thanks, David. You're not wrong in all of that. The downtown area, though, is within the jurisdiction of the city of Salem, and you're working with Mayor-elect Coy. So I highly encourage you to have this chat with him, but also you could let him know that Marion County invested dollars into a partnership through our health department with Church at the Park and United Way and a couple other partners, and we have a shower trailer that gets pulled around to different locations, and it can be requested by Arches in the downtown Salem area for the use of whatever those individuals are looking for.
I'm urging everybody to pitch in and help out and get it cleaned up in this city, because it's getting really worse.
You're right, it is, and the city council really has to take some action on
And
that.
I will make sure it's a done deal.
Perfect. Okay.
I got a meeting with him at 11 o'clock.
Well, tell him I said hi.
I will.
Okay.
I'll make sure.
All right.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for being here.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, next it's going to be Kyle Palmer, and if you'd also come over to that table, that'd be great. Are you with Kyle?
Hi, Mayor.
Good morning. Morning, Madam Chair, members of the council, or the commission, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
That name, word sticks in my mouth. Marion County staff and members of the public, I'm here today for something very positive, and I'm joined by members of Silverton Rotary. We got 4 members here today, including myself, and that is the capacity I'm here, not as the mayor of Silverton. But I did want to share with you a project that Silverton Rotary has been working on for some time. Several years ago in our visioning process, we identified the need for a sensory park in our community, which has since been rebranded as an all abilities park. We found early on that people were seeing this only as a project for people with specific needs, when in fact it'll be a park for every user. And just wanted to share with you, we're through the design phase, and we have procured a commitment from the city of Silverton for $127,000 and from the Silverton Urban Renewal District for another $127,000, and we are beginning our public fundraising campaign to get this park built in the spring of 2023. And it will be located just north of the Silverton Pool parking lot, utilizing parking infrastructure that exists currently. Also be close enough to use the bathroom facilities that are part of the Silverton Chamber and Visitor Center, although we do plan eventually to put bathrooms into this space. It's in what we would call Old Mill Park, although people casually refer to it as the east side of Coolidge McLean Park. It's a space that's relatively flat and located near the Serenity of Silver Creek, which we think will be just a really big added benefit for the environment we're shooting for with this park. And we're going to have a park that ends up costing around $390,000 We have interfaced with users in the community, parents of prospective users in the community, to find out what's missing in our current park system and what would benefit their children or their family members in a park that's more accessible. And the high cost of this park is largely due to the fact that we, from day one, prioritize wheelchair access to as much of the amenities as we can. So a wheelchair user will actually be able to leave the ground level and be up into what we would call the first level of some of the park infrastructure. And that's something that just doesn't exist very often in the parks that we see around. Certainly the ones in Silverton, the major one of which at Coolidge McLean Park is actually sunk below ground level and not accessible at all to anybody that was in a wheelchair or using any other kind of stability device to get where they're going. So we're really excited about this project. We're looking for partnerships across the city, the county, donors. We just think it's going to be an amazing addition to the Silverton Parks landscape, and we appreciate the city and the Urban Renewal District's partnership with us as we move forward to getting this built.
Well, that's exciting.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here.
Just, yep, our pleasure. We just wanted to share that information with you as we move forward.
Thanks for the good news.
Yeah, and I know you've got some brochures that will show.
And lots of notes that I'll follow up on.
Yeah, perfect, yeah. We're looking forward to it. Thank you.
Oh, go ahead.
So Kyle, I'm trying to buy a brick right now as I'm sitting here.
Okay.
And so you can just hit this, just so I understand this
code?
brochure, this QR code takes you to PayPal, and is there a place there that says the brick and information on it?
You can just enter a payment of the brick amount.
Right.
And then there's a place where you can put your notes that this is for a brick.
Okay,
So,
great.
yeah, and thank you so much.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks for being here.
Any
It's
other
nice.
questions?
Good deal. We got bricks everywhere in the county.
Well, yep, and two of you get to pick them up a little bit after our parade, so we appreciate that. Those are different kind of bricks.
I'm gonna miss picking those up with you, buddy.
Yeah, yes, I will too.
Thank you. Have a good day. That's funny.
You know what he was talking about.
I 100% know what he's
The
talking
pet
about. And I
parade
also
and-
know that
and the
I've opted
horses.
out.
The pooper scoopers.
The pooper
Yeah.
scoopers.
I have opted out of that. But I love that you guys do it.
Just cleaning up the community commission.
That's right. Okay, now we're going to move on to proclamations. And our first one is under Board of Commissioners to consider approval of a proclamation designating the week of September 17th through the 23rd, 2022 as Constitution Week in Marion County. Day Weston, Louise Feskin, and Arletta Day are National Society Daughters of the American Revolution, the Chemeketa chapter, to present to us today. So if you're all coming forward, you can split up. Just one? Okay. It's not so rough.
Yes, it is. Thank you very much for having us here.
So for the record, you'll need to introduce yourself and tell us
My name is
where
Day
you-
Westeen. I'm the regent of Chemeketa chapter, Daughters of the American Revolution, here in Salem. And just for the record, we've been around here in Salem as a DAR chapter 107 years. What I wanted to bring to your attention of sorts is an article about the constitutional framers. And this was printed in the Medford, Oregon Mail Tribune newspaper back in January 10, 1991. And the only reason I know that is I'm from Medford, and my mother was also a DAR member, and she cut out everything. So I found it amongst her stuff. And I can't read with my glasses on. The powers of war troubled the Constitution's framers too. When the Constitutional Convention took up the proposal that Congress should have the power to make war, most of the men assembled in Philadelphia in the summer of 1787 had known war firsthand. Only a few years before, they had served in the Revolutionary War, 1775 to 1783. According to one estimate, 30 of the 55 men at the convention had taken part in that conflict. As they gathered to write the Constitution, the framers had reason to fear more warfare. Spain was entrenched in the parts of the South, Britain held frontier posts in the north, and there had been the Bloody Shays Rebellion in Massachusetts, 1786 to 87. The unresolved conflict over the Constitution's provisions on waging war stems partly from the difficulty of translating the framers' experience as defenders of a fledgling nation into the military challenges facing a modern superpower that projects and defends its power around the globe. James Madison's notes of the convention, first published in 1840, reflect how the framers struggled with the issue. They were torn by the logistical concerns of having Congress decide whether the country should engage in war and the philosophical problems of investing such weighty responsibilities in one person. Madison's notes showed that on August 17, 1787, the Constitutional Convention considered a committee's recommendation that Congress should have the power to make war. Charles Pinckney of South Carolina said he feared that the legislators would act too slowly and meet too infrequently to be able to handle a war emergency. His colleagues from South Carolina, Pierce Butler, suggested that war-making power should be held by the president. Elbridge Gerry of Massachusetts apparently was flabbergasted at Butler's suggestion. Madison reports that Gerry said he'd never thought he would hear in a republic a motion to empower the executive alone to declare war. No one took up Butler's suggestion, according to Madison's notes and the analysis of historians. Madison and Gerry sought to address Pinckney's concerns, however, and moved that Congress should have the power to declare war rather than to make war. They also acknowledged that they wanted to leave to the president the power to repel sudden attacks. The change to declare war was approved 8-1. And some facts about the Constitution: there are 4,544 words, including the signatures, and it took 4 sheets of paper, which were, the dimensions were 28 3/4 inches by 28 5/8 inches. 39 delegates signed the Constitution. 2 presidents signed it, George Washington and James Madison. The oldest signer, 81 years old, was Benjamin Franklin, and the youngest signer was 26 years old, Jonathan Dayton from New Jersey. And it's been 235 years that it was signed on September 17, 1787. And we appreciate getting the proclamation from you.
Thanks for being here. All right, Commissioner Willis, will you make a motion?
I will. Madam Chair, I move that we approve a proclamation designating the week of September 17th through the 23rd, 2022, as Constitution Week in Marion County.
I'll second the motion.
A motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, Madam Chair, our legal counsel is, sometimes pretty quiet over here, but we were having a discussion about this before we got started today. And Jane mentioned that when she was a freshman in high school at St. Mary's, she entered a contest that wrote about the Constitution. And she wrote about Paul Revere and earned herself a $50, she won.
Sponsored by the Daughters of the American Revolution.
By the Daughters of American, and she won a $50 U.S. savings bond. A lot of people don't even know what a U.S. savings bond is.
It's a piece of paper.
Today, right?
It's a piece of
And
paper.
we were having that
That's pretty
discussion.
good.
So, yeah, so we knew we hired the right person for our legal counsel many years ago, but we just found that out today.
Can you pull your microphone up?
When I started high school, I was looking around for things to do, and I was not athletic at all. And I thought I'd join the speech team. And this contest came up, and I won it. And your life is made up of little events, but it gave me the confidence as a very young girl to pursue, I think, where I am now. So I've always thought with admiration about your organization, and I'm very appreciative.
That's a great story. Okay, Commissioner Cameron, do you want to start the proclamation?
We're gonna vote.
Oh, yeah, just, all those in favor say aye. Sorry.
Aye. Well, I kind of interrupted your
Yeah, you did,
your
and I got
process.
hung up with Jane, sorry.
Yeah,
Aye, the motion
for discussion-
passes.
Under discussion,
Thank
okay.
you.
Madam Chair, thank you. Before the Board of Commissioners for Marion County, Oregon, in the matter of observing September 17th through the 23rd, 2022 as Constitution Week in Marion County proclamation. This matter came before the Marion County Board of Commissioners at its regularly scheduled public meeting on Wednesday, September 21st, 2022. Whereas the Constitution of the United States of America, the guardian of our liberties, embodies the principles of limited government in a republic dedicated to the rule of law, and
Whereas we celebrate our heritage as a country bound together by fidelity to a set of ideas and a system of governance first laid out in America's Constitution, product of fierce debate and enduring compromise, our nation's Constitution has guided our progress from 13 to 50 United States that stretch from sea to shining sea. And whereas September 17th, 2022 marks the 235th anniversary of the framing of the Constitution of the United States of America by the Constitutional Convention, and
Whereas this week, we reflect on the basic rights and responsibilities of citizenship, the founding documents from which they were drawn, and the extraordinary legacy of progress they have enabled. Let us forever uphold the ideals the framers enshrined in our Constitution, and let us never cease in our pursuit of the more perfect union they imagined so many years ago. And now, therefore, by virtue of the authority vested in us as Commissioners for Marion County, we do hereby proclaim the week of September 17th through the 23rd as Constitution Week, dated this 21st day of September 2022. I feel like we should have an applause or something. John, will you come out and grab a photo? You don't want to be in this one? Yeah, okay. Would you both join us for this picture? I know she spoke, but reluctantly, she got it done.
This is only my third term.
Well, it's only my first as a commissioner.
All right, everybody look right here. 3, 2, 1. Thank you.
Thank you. Nice to meet you. Thanks for coming.
thank you for doing this all these years.
Thank you.
You should have jumped in the photo. I should have asked her.
shaking hands above hands.
Oh, that's up just for the regions.
Thanks for being here. Thank you.
All right, now we will, excuse me, carry on with the rest of our agenda. Commissioner Cameron, would you read the consent calendar, please?
I'd be happy to, Madam Chair. First item, under Public Works, approve an order vacating a portion of the public alley within Trilliger Tracks subdivision in Marion County, Oregon, investing the alley to the property owners to the west, Ross and Shelley Newkirk. Under the Tax Office, approve an order for a property tax refund in the amount of $20,456.90 for Lumen Technologies, Inc., tax account number 356836.
I'll second the motion.
A motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye, the motion passes. We'll now move on to our first item under action. Under Board of Commissioners, to consider approval of an order delegating authority to the Marion County Chief Administrative Officer to sign the funding approval agreement with the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD, Office of Community Planning and Development for the 2022 Development Block Grant, CDBG program. Tim, good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. So I am here today for approval, for your consideration to approve the delegation of authority for Jan to be able to sign off on our CDBG Community Development Block Grant Agreement with the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development in the amount of $1,446,086. And that would be used for programs or projects identified in our 5-year consolidated plan and our 1-year annual action plan.
Any questions?
No, we've had lots of hearings about this and meetings about this, and we just need to get the money. So, Jan, go get the money.
Well, great with that, Commissioner. Willis, will you make a
So
motion?
you can spend it.
Yeah.
We, as the people's
we are gonna-
representatives,
I feel like we
can-
have a plan to spend it already.
we
so.
can spend it on behalf of the people of Marion County.
Yeah.
All right, Madam Chair. Oh, do you have something, Commissioner? Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, this is new for Marion County, and it's good stuff. It's difficult, but it's good that this money's
It's only
coming back.
difficult because HUD runs it.
Yeah, right. That's right.
I would tell them that if they were sitting here, just so we're clear.
All right, Madam Chair, I move that we approve an order delegating authority to the Marion County Chief Administrative Officer to sign the funding approval agreement with the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development, Office of Community Planning and Development for the 2022 Community Development Block Grant Program.
I'll second the motion.
A motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye, the motion passes. All right, Tim, and now we're going to move on to consider approval of an order delegating authority to the Marion County Chief Administrative Officer to sign the funding approval and home investment partnership agreement with the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development, Office of Community Planning and Development for the 2022 Home Investment Partnership Program.
So before you again is the consideration for delegating authority for Jan to sign off on our home investment partnerships agreement with the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development in the amount of $638,631 for fiscal year 2022. And again, that would be used for identified programs and projects in the 5-year consolidated plan and the annual action plan.
Great. Is there any questions?
No.
I know that this is new, right? People are like, CDBG home, what does that mean? And at some point in the near future, you're going to come back, right? I think a couple weeks from now.
We will for the.
And are you going to give a brief presentation to just continually remind folks what these programs?
We absolutely can.
Great. He doesn't need to be super long, but just, I think it's a good refresher every 6 months because at some point, we are going to be offering contracts for the planning process that we've gone through to award organizations funding. As an example of that, next week on Wednesday, we have a very short board meeting because we use some of our CDBG dollars to help the new Boys and Girls Club on Lancaster with some, I think, operation costs going forward, and they have their ribbon cutting, their grand opening. So the money goes into the community for really great things, housing and other functions, and I just like to make sure they know.
Absolutely.
Great.
Okay.
Okay.
Ready? Mm-hmm. Madam Chair, I'll move that we approve an order delegating authority to the Marion County Chief Administrative Officer to sign the funding approval and home investment partnership agreement with the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development, Office of Community Planning and Development for the 2022 Home Investment Partnership Program.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Is there further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye, the motion passes. Thanks, Tim and team. All right, now we'll move on to Health and Human Services to consider approval of the incoming funds intergovernmental agreement with the Oregon Health Authority in the amount of $6,318,421.64 for behavioral health housing through June 30th, 2023. Good morning, Ryan.
Good morning, Commissioners. So Ryan Matthews, Administrator with Marion County Health and Human Services, and I am here seeking approval of an incoming funds agreement with Oregon Health Authority for the $6,318,421.64. We don't want to forget the 64 cents to increase bed capacity across behavioral health housing across our system. So this funding actually came out of House Bill 5202, where the focus was to appropriate funds to help reduce the capacity issue at Oregon State Hospital. There was $100 million that was earmarked to be distributed to counties, and this $6.3 million represents the share and portion that is coming to Marion County. The goal really here is to invest in the behavioral health housing system at all levels of care to hope to allow for better movement. We have a system right now where people tend to get stuck in the level where they're placed, and they don't have sort of the continuum to be able to move along based on sort of the level of need that they have. So there are individuals that can potentially safely move out of Oregon State Hospital into, say, a secure residential treatment facility, but there aren't enough beds. And those bottlenecks are then causing the other issue where people can't get into the housing level with what they need. So the concept behind the $6 million is for counties to invest in opportunities with developers and with operators of these sorts of facilities. We developed a plan, and I know the Board of Commissioners were a part of that as well, of potential possibilities that we're looking to invest in. And I think that our next step would be to post a solicitation for some grant opportunities to see if there's some ways that we can leverage our funds with developers to again, increase capacity and help transition people out of higher levels of care into lower levels of care where appropriate. We are interested in things ranging from the highest level of care, which would be secure residential treatment facilities, all the way through down to rental assistance, as well as a housing navigator that's funded out of these grant dollars that was part of our fiscal year 22-23 budget submission. We don't currently have any of these funds sort of earmarked for a specific project. We're really open to see what is out there in our community that we can participate in. And so as we do the solicitation, we'll come back with ones that we feel like meet the criteria and work with the board to kind of prioritize the allocation of these funds and potential contracts that we want to move forward with. I don't know if there's any other specific questions you might have about these.
You have any questions?
No, I mean, we kind of have some work ahead of us to figure out
We do.
how we're going to invest this. I mean, I think the concern that I have, and, you know, we had that court case where they basically said we're going to release 100 people from the state hospital even though they're not complete with their treatment.
Correct.
And we don't have good treatment options for those folks that are coming back into communities all across the state of Oregon. And now OHA is giving us this money in the hope that we can figure out some treatment in the community that will help folks that arguably should be in the state hospital or need treatment in a hospital level type of setting. And so this is a real challenge. I mean, I'm going to vote for it. I'm willing to give it a shot, but I do think the state hospital and that system that they have there is not functioning at the level it should be functioning. The state administration and the legislature doesn't want to expand that hospital setting, doesn't want to put more resources into it, so they're kind of hoping the counties are going to fix their problem for them. And so I'm willing to take a shot at it, but we really need the state to step up and not just try to shift sort of their inability to adequately treat folks that need hospital level care to the counties, because we certainly don't have the resources that the state has. And so while I hope this can help and can improve the situation somewhat and get some health care and resources to folks who need it in our community, I don't want people to think that this is going to solve the state hospital problem.
Right.
And I don't want the state to think that, because that's just not reality. If people need hospital level care, they need hospital level care, and giving us money for lower level settings is not going to solve the problem of the need for hospital level care. And so I just want to say that on the record that, we're willing to go be a part of the solution here, but nobody should think that this is going to solve the crisis that we're facing at the state hospital.
And the timing too is a challenge, because these kinds of investments and this kind of construction that needs to happen takes years to build this kind of infrastructure, and some of the decisions that are happening at the state hospital are happening now.
Right.
And so there's people potentially being released, and there's not the time to develop these kind of resources in the community. So I think that's also the challenge, is that given what's happened with that court case, if these funds would have been pushed out 2 or 3 years ago, there might be the infrastructure now that exists to really help that situation, and right now there's not. So this is a step to make some investments in our community, but it's not going to solve the immediate issue, really at all.
Ryan, what is, and I don't think we've had this conversation. Actually, I don't think we've had a conversation really about these funds since that court case. We probably should do that. But my question is, and if you can't answer it today, that's totally fine. But for the 109 individuals that the court case recently basically said are going to be released from the state hospital, many of them, if not all, have criminal challenges. And the reason they're in the hospital is because they couldn't stand trial, right, Jane?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yep.
They're on what's called aid and assist, so they can't assist in their own defense, so they go to the state hospital to achieve a baseline where they can understand what's going on.
So I guess my question is to think on, and Jane, we might just need to have this conversation, is what type of risk are we opening, is OHA forcing basically on the counties to absorb for individuals who, in one case I know, killed somebody, and they're gonna be released. And I don't know, I don't have all the details. To me, it's irrelevant. Somebody died at their hands, and now we are being forced to try to manage that individual literally without services available and a facility, resources for them to go to.
Right.
So is the state, through this contract or other means, saying you'll be relieved of the risk and liability that comes with that? They're just saying, good luck?
No, I mean, they're definitely citing this as investments that they're making to help justify the impact of this decision, but I don't actually think this really helps reduce the risk at all with that population. So, I mean, the real challenge is people are not mandated and forced into treatment. So when they're released from the state hospital, there's real limitations. I mean, we have community restoration efforts, and we certainly will do our best to engage them in treatment, to try to find them appropriate living situations, of which, some of these could eventually, residential treatment facilities and things could potentially be that. But when you take away sort of the mandated services that they're required to have, and mandated, medications and things when you're part of the Oregon State Hospital system, when they're free and released, there's a lot fewer options. And so I think that I think our fear is that people won't engage in treatment. And so then what ends up happening is they'll get involved in the criminal justice system again, and we'll kind of have a cycle that we weren't able to break because people weren't able to get the treatment that they needed at the appropriate level of care that they needed. And I don't think that this order that has come through is really fully thought through that. I think it's much more conceptual of, well, we would rather have people get treatment. And I think that is true in a general case, but people have to want to get treated versus they're required, to get treated, and there's a big difference there. So I know there's still, and there's certainly people much smarter than me, our attorneys are certainly looking at this issue, and there's a lot of discussions happening, but I think there's a lot of concerns, and I don't want us to pretend that this investment is gonna, fully reduce those risks that we're fearing of in terms of, the public safety outcomes related to that decision.
Thank you. Like Commissioner Willis, I'll support this today, but it's going to be one of those situations that I'll have to, we'll be obviously walking along the path with you in this and sharing with the community and being very transparent about the challenges that we're facing, and hopefully folks are listening, because what, David Beam just talked about, the challenges that he sees and the frustrations in downtown Salem are only going to become exacerbated, in my opinion, with the ruling from the court and what the state hospital is doing. And we're not an end-all be-all here. The state is the one who holds all the money for this particular system, and I do believe they're failing these individuals. I don't think that this is good care that they're passing on. While we provide the best care possible, this isn't what we are designed to do. So I really appreciate you and your team working to try to figure out a path forward to support the citizens that will be released from the hospital, because they do matter, and we want to care for them, and hopefully we have community partners that can stand forward and help us in that. But $6 million is not anywhere near enough money to do real good work.
Yeah.
Commissioner? Oh, go.
I was
Go
just
ahead,
gonna
Jen.
say, the other thing is that the people that are being released are from across the state. And so they're not necessarily Marion County citizens, but they're coming out of the state hospital.
Into Marion County.
Into Marion
That's
County.
right, yeah.
So,
Yeah, I mean, I know, theoretically, they're supposed to be sent back to their county origin, but I also think that there's going to be some times where charges are dropped, for example, because then they won't have to relocate that person back to their home community, and then they're just set, they're free and clear, and they're in Marion County, and they're using our resources and need our supports, and they're people that we may not have really any existing relationships with because they were treated by other counties. So again, there's a lot of issues that have kind of bubbled up with this that I don't think were fully thought out, and you hope that there'll be opportunities where we can continue to speak up and advocate for some of these concerns, but I also know that decisions have been made and things are moving, so it's pretty challenging.
Commissioner?
Well, yeah, Marion, thank you. We talked about this came up 3 months ago or 4 months ago.
Yeah, this has been a while.
Or
This
longer.
has
It's been a long while,
time,
and I
yes.
guess, I'm almost, I've heard both my commissioners say that they're gonna vote for this today, but this was before the court case
That's right.
released of these people. And this is a bunch of bull crap that is being pushed out on the counties. And my concern is $6 million is going to go for construction of facilities. What about staffing, right? Where's the money going to come to staff this over the long haul and sustain this? And we all know what happens with state funding. We're fighting all the time with just parole and probation baseline funding and reinvestment. So nobody's going to care if I vote no because nobody's watching. I mean,
Well, I care.
Well,
I care.
Not because, I don't care because you're voting no, I care because this is important, and honestly.
I almost want to send this back to the
I was
state
just
and say,
gonna say,
thank you
do we
very
wanna
much. You
postpone
take
it?
care of these people yourself, because you continue to shut facilities down that the citizens of Marion County, the citizens of Oregon, wonder why things are getting worse.
Yeah.
And it's piece by piece by piece, and this is another piece that is going to make our communities unsafe, and I am just tired of it. And I'm sorry, Ryan, this is not about you. This contract has taken a long time to get here, and in the meantime, another piece has been clipped off the branch of help by the state. And we need some big changes over there, or we're going to be. And people are, and David's here today, right? Talking about how bad it's getting. It's going to get worse and worse and worse. And this is another example of why. Okay, I'm done.
Well, I think one
You're
thing
fine.
we could do if we wanted to, because I think this is an important discussion to have, is ask somebody from OHA to come and chat with us about this. Like you said, that decision, that
The court decision.
release decision, basically, where they're releasing people that have not completed their treatment, didn't occur when we started going down this path. And it might be worth having a conversation with somebody from OHA.
And DOJ didn't even fight it.
Right, that's right. So it might be worth having a conversation with somebody from OHA in this context, sort of saying, we hope you don't think that this is gonna be the answer to, what the needs are of the folks that were just released into our community.
Okay,
Okay, well,
come
then.
back to reality.
Well, I think we are talking reality, and actually, I think this is what it looks like in our work sessions, folks. When we've been presented with something, and there has been new information that's come up in the last few weeks, and, Ryan, I apologize that we drug you all the way into the boardroom and finally arrived at this kind of concept individually as board members, but I would like to make a suggestion that we actually postpone the vote on this and move it back into a work session, Jan, and we can work on getting OHA and frankly maybe DOJ. We can work with Jane on putting together a conversation around why this isn't adequate funding to do what they wanted us to do originally, and certainly not now with this new release decision, and see if we can come up with a better plan. And if not, at the end of the day, these individuals are going to be released. We know that we're going through a process with the courts, and maybe a decision will change in January. But right now, we have to think forward. But like Ryan made a very clear point of, this money is late to the game. We needed it 3 or 4 years ago to be able to provide a service to individuals who are, 1, currently living out in our communities in need, and 2, the people they're going to release onto the streets. And Marion County is going to take a huge brunt of the hit, if you will, financially, because we're the ones that are going to have to provide that necessary care, and we don't have the resources. And it's not like other counties are going to send us a check to support their citizens, although I'm not above asking. So.
Madam Chair,
Yeah.
Ryan, how's this impact you by us putting this up?
The only impact I see, there is a housing navigator position that was budgeted, that was in these funds. In terms of the other funding sources, they are really largely going to be passed through. So it would slow down the solicitation process for projects and things, but that's, of minimal impact. It's really only kind of the one position that we would have to
Which is a
do some
critical
maneuvering,
position,
yeah.
but maybe we can find other funds, or just pause it for a minute to figure it out. So, do I need a motion since we have an item on the agenda to postpone it?
Well, Madam Chair, I'll move that we table item number 6 to a date to be determined.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Again, Ryan, thank you and sorry.
That's okay.
All those in favor of that motion, please say aye.
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 Aye, the motion passes.
Okay.
So we'll reconvene with you at a later date.
Okay, all right, thank
Sorry,
you.
too. Sorry.
No, it's okay. Okay, now we're going to recess our Board of Commissioners meeting and convene as a contract review board under Public Works to consider and order approving the sole source justification with Valley Landfill in the amount of $14,742,000, last time I got it wrong, for the acceptance of incinerator ash and alternate daily cover at the Coffin Butte landfill through August 31st, 2032. Why is that number on here? It's like so far away, but not really. Hi, Camber.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Camber Schlag. I'm the Contracts and Procurement Manager in the Finance Department.
Good morning, Brian May, Public Works Environmental Services Division Manager. So the item before you today, give you a little bit of background about ash, right? So back in December of 2010, we went through a competitive bid process for basically a demonstration project to show that ash is equivalent to 6 inches of soil, so alternate daily cover for landfill space. We had 3 bids, and Valley Landfills was awarded that as a low bidder. As a requirement of that, DEQ required a 12-month demonstration to show that ash could be equivalent to soil. That was done. A report was submitted by Valley Landfills in April of 2012. And we received our approval in May of 2012 to actually utilize our ash as daily cover at Coffin Butte Landfill, which is Valley Landfill's legal entity for Coffin Butte. Fast forward to today, basically we had a 10-year agreement. We've utilized this material. We get the beneficial reuse of our ash being used as daily cover. Coffin Butte benefits by not having to use raw material resources to cover garbage on a daily basis. Our contract ended, our 10-year contract ended here in May. We went out again and requested from DEQ and said, is there anybody else out there that's approved for this process? And they said, no, Coffin Butte is still the only entity that is able to take incinerator ash from Covanta as alternate daily cover.
And this then transitions into my part where the Marion County Public Contracting Rules under sole source procurements basically indicates a sole source is when the goods or services are available from only one source. And since DEQ has confirmed that before you today, we do have a sole source procurement. Upon your approval, we will post this on Oregon Buys for 7 days. And should we receive a protest, we would work through that protest. Otherwise, if no protests are received within 7 days, we can move forward with the contract.
Great. Is there any questions? No.
It sounds pretty straightforward. There's only one person who can do this, and it's good for our solid waste system, so.
Right, okay.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the sole source justification with Valley Landfill in the amount of $14,742,000 for the acceptance of incinerator ash for alternate daily cover at the Coffin Butte landfill through August 31st, 2032.
I'll second the motion.
A motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye, the motion passes. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
We will now adjourn as Contract Review Board and reconvene as Board of Commissioners. And under public hearings, the Board of Commissioners, the public hearing to consider substantial amendment number 2 to the fiscal year 2021-2022 annual action plan pertaining to the Home American Rescue Plan allocation. Is it plant? It says the word plant. American Rescue Plan allocation plan. Sorry. That's okay. I'm like, I mean, it's okay. All right. Tim.
Well, it does grow bigger every day.
It does seem to grow bigger every day, but I hadn't seen that word, so. Way to go, Brenda.
All right, good morning again, Commissioners. Tim Glisson, CDBG Home Program Manager. I first want to let Erin introduce herself. So Erin's been working in the board's office and working particularly on our HomeWart plan, and it's been a great help for the community, soon-to-be community services team, addition to the community services department. I'll let you introduce yourself real quick.
I'm Erin Miller, just Board of Commissioners office.
So are you interning with us? Tell us a little bit about yourself. He just stole your thunder with your whole introduction, so.
I did a little bit.
So I was an intern from January through end of April, and then I became a part-time employee starting in May.
Great. Well, we're glad you're here.
All right, so with that, this public hearing is on our substantial amendment number 2 to our 21-22 annual action plan. and particularly the Home ARP allocation plan. So Home ARP itself was passed in March 11th, 2021, as part of the American Rescue Plan, which is a $1.9 trillion package by Congress. $5 billion was appropriated by Congress and distributed by HUD for homelessness assistance purposes. And then Marion County was allocated $2,251,172 in Home ARP funds in September of 2021. So Home ARP itself has to be allocated to activities dealing with qualifying populations, and since it all is homelessness, it is all the qualifying populations are homeless, at risk of homelessness, fleeing or attempting to flee domestic violence, dating violence, sexual assault, stalking, or human trafficking. And then other populations where providing supportive services or assistance would prevent a family's homelessness. Income levels would be a part of that, low to moderate income levels. That would serve those with the greatest risk of housing instability. And then veterans and families were included in the Home ARP plan, but they were explicitly that they have to still meet one of the top 4 criteria. And then the actual eligible activities for the Home ARP plan are rental housing, tenant-based rental assistance, supportive services, acquisition and development of non-congregate shelter, and then nonprofit operating and capacity building assistance. And I will pass it over to you, Erin.
All right, so I thought we'd go over a little bit of what the timeline so far has looked like. As we mentioned at the beginning, this money was first allocated to Marion County in September of 2021, but to use these funds, we have to get an allocation plan approved. So this last year has been going through that process. Most of that has been a consultation process. We have done a survey, several public meetings, and just a lot of general consultation, whether that's one-on-ones, using other groups' documents, things like that. In August of this year, the commissioners allocated funding, which we'll talk about at the end where that went. And then we just finishing up today our public comment period, which started on August 19th and is ending today, September 21st, 2022. To date, we have received 1 public comment on the plan. Today, the public hearing, September 21st, and going forward, this plan will be going for the board for approval on currently October 5th. And then pending approval, we'll be submitting that plan to HUD for final approval. So we just thought I'd give a little bit of sample of some of the organizations we consulted in the process of doing this plan. This is not an exhaustive list, there's more than this involved. But yeah, it's a range of Marion County departments like Health and Human Services, private organizations like the Center for Hope and Safety, and just a huge range of different providers in our community.
And then in terms of the allocation, so in conjunction with the board's direction through our process, there has been an allocation or anticipated allocation of $1 million going to non-congregate shelter, that category, and then $913,496.20 to supportive services, and then $337,675.80 is reserved for administration, staff cost internally. And that would conclude the presentation. Do you guys have any questions?
I do, Madam Chair.
Go ahead.
First, I want to say thank you for this. As I was reviewing this, I thought it was well done.
It's definitely easy to read.
The needs assessment and gaps analysis in particular, I thought was well done. So thank you guys for doing this. There was a comment or a statement that confused me. I was wondering if you could just clarify. According to the PIT count, a disproportionately greater number of men are currently homeless when compared to women. The 2022 PIT count, 35% of those recorded were women, while 64% were men. And there's a comment at the bottom that says, feedback received from service providers indicates the ratio of homeless men to women is skewed toward women, not men.
We're looking at page 11, just so.
Yeah, what does that mean?
Yeah,
I just didn't understand what that comment
right.
meant.
So that is, right, so the official data does say that more men than women are homeless in Marion County and Polk counties combined, but in like consultation with, say, UGM, they brought up that according to their data, more women than men suffer from homelessness, and that their partners say the same thing. So we're not sure really why there's this discrepancy, but we thought we'd point out official data says more men than women, but some of the service providers are saying they see the opposite.
Thank you. That's very helpful. That clarifies what my confusion was, and that sort of would say to me that we would need to ask them for their data, basically. If they have different data than the pit count, we would need to see that. So, okay. That's
Thank
great.
you.
Thank you.
Okay. So we don't need to make a motion today. So if there's no other comments, Commissioner Cameron, do you have anything to add?
No.
This will be- they'll be coming
Have we
back.
received any input yet? Yeah, I do have a
Okay.
question. Yeah, sorry, man.
So, I was gonna say, the only input that we had actually received was from Jane Downing with just some updated numbers
Okay.
on domestic violence.
Great. Okay, well, if there's nothing else, I'll close the public hearing and reconvene as we're still in the meeting, and adjourn the meeting for the day. Have a good day.